Hello, I'm Wayne Moneyas. I'm from Hollow Water First Nation. Hollow Water back in the day when I was growing up, it was called Whole River. It was based off of that at the mouth of the river. They said there's a big hole at the Winnipeg River where it meets Lake Winnipeg, so they called it Whole River back in the day. But before it was Whole River, we had the Big Island Band in Black Island, and it was made up of three other communities: Jackhead and Bloodvein and Hollow Water. So at the time of land surrender, they gave Jackhead their land on the west side of Lake Winnipeg, farther north, and Bloodvein on the east side, farther north, and then we have Hollow Water that's at the southern basin of Lake Winnipeg. So that's how that came about.
Tell me more about the community. I didn't know that.
The community, well, and then there's some stories like when we were kids, we heard like a big snake that would come out of that hole from the mouth of the river. I guess it was the elders to scare our young people so they don't go out in the lake or in the river to swim, because our river is a really fast-moving river back in the day. So everybody was always worried about like youth going missing or drowning, right? So they kind of scared them that there's a big snake in the lake and in the river. But sometimes a lot of people figured it was a really big sturgeon that they were seeing, not a snake. So yeah.
How long have they been there? Have they always been there, or have they migrated from someplace? Or
As far as I can go back, is the only part that I remember is the Big Island Band, it being called the Big Island Band, and because of the resources on that island, so there was like red oak that was on that island that they used to build some of the old buildings in Winnipeg here for the structural part of the buildings. So those big trees came from Black Island, and then they had the silica sand mine that was on Black Island. So they relocated us so they can have access to those minerals on that island. So, and that's the story that I understand from the elders from back in the day.
Okay, now more currently now, how many councillors and how many one chief?
So we were operating just from 4 years ago. We were under Section 74 of the Indian Act, which is a 2-year term for. We had a chief and 4 councillors, and then they moved into the 4-year term election process, which is the First Nations Election Act. So now they have a 4-year term, and it's still 1 chief and 4 councillors. Yeah, our population is average on reserve. I would say now probably like close to 1,100 on reserve. Yeah.
What about
off reserve is pretty much about the same. Like it's like a 50-50 split. Like we have 50% of our population on reserve and 50% off reserve because of lack of housing, no space, no jobs. So,
what are some of the current issues that might be affecting the community and its members today?
Today there's a lot of communities split because of certain projects that are taking place in and around our traditional territories. Like a good example is the silica sand mine that's being proposed. At first it came off with a negative idea right away because fracking was involved. So a lot of people figured that fracking was going to happen in Hollow Water in the traditional territory, but the process was that they just wanted to buy the sand and transport that to Alberta to the oil companies, so they would be doing the fracking over there. But it's still in controversy with the community, so there's like 50% want employment and 50% don't want no land disruptions to maintain the medicines and the things that have been there for all these years. Like it's a really good area for blueberry picking and for the animals. Yeah, so.
What about spiritualism in the community?
Yeah, like recently, in the past, we do have we have cultural items that are in Smithonia Museum out in Washington. We sent a group out there a while back, I'd say about 15, 20 years ago, and they went and viewed. So we have birch bark scrolls with teachings on them that there was only one guy that was able to read part of them, and he was from Saugeen. He passed away, but we still have those in Washington, and we're trying to get them back into the community. But they said they would work with us, but we have to have a site that's temperature controlled like a museum, so the artifacts wouldn't get ruined as soon as we brought them back. So they want that protection of that stuff. So we had like water drums, rattles, pipes, like birch bark scrolls.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that are still in Washington from Hollow Water.
Wow.
Yeah. So like the elders told me back in the day that when the Indian agent came out, the elders would hide their traditional items, and sometimes they like put them under a tree, like bury them under a tree so the Indian agents wouldn't find them and take them. Because I think back in the day, if you were caught with that stuff, you get charged and jailed if you had that stuff in your possession. So they had they had to hide that stuff. So that's one of the stories that the elders told me, that they used to hide the stuff away, or either in caves, like on the ridges, yeah, so they wouldn't get caught. So, and sometimes some of those stuff haven't been, like there's still stuff out there around the land that's there that people, the medicines, the drums and whatever rattles that are still hidden, haven't been found yet. Yeah, so interesting, yeah.
What about there was a lot of history of sexual abuse in the community? Was that community, or was there another?
Yeah, it was at the beginning. I think this was in the 80s that a group was formed, a community. Well, let me see, Community Holistic Healing Circle, or Circle Healing or something, and they were bringing up the issue of family violence, and then that was part of the topic that was discussed, and they were doing circle justice, so that the victim and the person that victimized were face to face and dealt with the issue there in front of community in a circle. So there's documents with CBC that have those documents. Like,
is that still going?
It's still going. It's just it's more not targeted at sexual abuse. It's targeted at overall generational trauma from the government, right? Like yeah. So it's talked about when it needs to be, but now it doesn't go through the justice circle anymore. So a lot of people prefer to go through the regular justice system, but because of the way the program was set up, it was so both sides get healed, and then in the regular justice system, you get someone going to jail, but nothing for the victim, other than disclosure, right? And no real healing, but that's still a process that they're working on in Hollow Water, yeah.
It's more of a traditional based?
Yeah, they do a lot of like, we do fast. They do a fast every year now, and that's been going on for like 15, 20 years, community fast. So, and then a lot of people come out for ceremonies, because we do a whole week of ceremonies. We have Black Island days that the majority of the community go across to Black Island and camp for 7 days, and we do family programs such as like fun games for children, fun games for elders, entertainment, talent shows, jigging, powwows.
That's an annual event?
That's an annual event, and that's been going on for like 35 something years now. It's quite costly, but that's a lot of people to boat across, because it's the only way you can get there is by boat.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's our homeland, and that's why we've always been going there. So we have that attachment to that homeland. If we ever decided, like, Hollow Water's never been into a land claim, because we didn't really have no idea how to target that land claim. Yeah, so, but we keep that attachment, so anything, like if the province wants to do something on the island, they ask us if it's okay if they could do things on that island, and vice versa. Like, we have to get permission from the province, because it's a provincial park that we have, Black Island, and they say, yeah, as long as you clean up the area, take your garbage and everything, and that's what we've been doing. Yeah, it's a nice place.
The elders, what are some of the name of the elders and families that come from the community?
Like last names?
Last names, yeah.
Last names, okay. There's like Johnsons, Moneyas, Bushies, Cowleys, Williams, Ramseys, Hardesties. Morningstar was the first chief of Hollow Water. His traditional name was Morningstar. Yeah, so and he has descendants in Hollow Water too to this day that's out there. So
Do you know their names?
yeah, my brother-in-law is one of them, Marcel Hardesty, and he's one of the lead role activists with the Silica Sand project out in Hollow Water. So he's really concerned about the land in the community, the protection of the land. Yeah, because in Hollow Water we're surrounded by minerals, and that's what government's after. Like, we have hundreds and hundreds of gold permits that have been issued out to companies or in the whole area. So and then there's like they were after peat moss. Now they're after sand. So and then there's a lot of rocks. So there's a lot of mineral in the rocks around the area. So like silica sand is just a kind of like a tip of the iceberg because there's still a lot of minerals that they want from that area. So protecting that area. Yeah. But elders, yeah, we've lost a lot of elders in the past though, like in the last little while. So yeah.
What language is the common language, or what was the original language?
Anishinaabe.
Anishinaabe.
Anishinaabe, yeah.
Is that would people speak Ojibwe, or is that Anishinaabe different than Ojibwe? Or
No, Ojibwe is Anishinaabe. Yeah. That's how we look at it. Like Anishinaabe is Ojibwe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do people still speak their language?
Yeah, we have people that do speak the language. We had language classes in the school, and that has kind of went to the wayside. But it was a great program while it was at school because you see the young kids starting to talk, knowing numbers, like names of animals, and it was good to see that kind of stuff coming back. And I have seen it like in other places, like you hear about language classes coming into the city now, Seven Oaks, other schools that are implementing that. So that's a good move forward. Yeah.
Very much. Thank you.
Okay, get to go, boy, Nichagan.